Hi, guys, and I hope you're having a good week. I'm sorry I haven't been on much lately. I've just been going through a lot with my health and just different things. But I wanted to get on here and have a talk about some stuff that has been really weighing on my mind lately. And I know that this is going to be uncommon for most of you, probably, but it is what it is. Please excuse me, I'm currently being eaten by mosquitoes, seeing as I am in the middle of the forest. But a couple, maybe a few weeks ago now, my family and I got into a discussion, I guess, or more like a fight. And it's been weighing on my mind. So I'm going to talk about it because if this can save even one person from having to go through what I've gone through in my life, it's going to be worth it to me and them. And that would be, a lot of you know, or anyway, the ones that have been following me know, that I was adopted. And I didn't find out until having that fight with my family that they never read my file. When you are put into foster care, when you are put into the adoption agency, you have a file that explains to the person or people that are going to take you on what your issues are or aren't. And it explains who you are as a person. If you are a baby, there's not much to go on, I would guess. Just maybe the name of your birth parents, and if you were born healthy or with any particular issues. But as you get older, it'll explain behavior issues and mental health issues and different things like that. Being as I was 7 when my parents decided to take me, I had been assessed and evaluated, and I was told that I was ADHD. I knew from the time I was maybe 5 or 6, but I didn't understand what that meant. It didn't mean anything to me until maybe 6, 7 years ago. I didn't understand that that diagnosis comes with certain characteristics and traits, and that some of the things could be worked on, like my having issues making friends, or not ever being on time for anything, or not being able to keep myself organized, or having some health issues, or any number of things that I've struggled with my whole life. And it wasn't until I myself was an adult that I started understanding why that was. And the only reason that I ever found out was because I was watching a TED Talk, and I came across a lady who has her own YouTube page, actually, and it's called How to ADHD. That I even understood that that was an issue. And when you decide to take on a child that is, obviously struggling, and you choose not to read their file, because I found out that they didn't, they've never read my file, and decided that they weren't going to even attempt to try to work with me in a way that would help me at all, could have possibly even taken away some of the struggles that I dealt with. There's a problem with that. There's a huge problem with that. Whether you agree or not with what is happening, or you believe that it is somebody else's problem or not, when you take on a child, no matter what they're struggling with or not struggling with and excelling at, it's your responsibility to foster the abilities of that child. It would be your responsibility if you had that child naturally from birth on your own. So, what would make it different if you decided to adopt or foster or take guardianship of a child who was in your care? That becomes your responsibility to deal with, no matter what that presents as. And deciding not to read a file of a child who you have custody of, in whatever capacity that happens to be, then there's something wrong with you, because that file will explain to you things that you don't know. And it is not the child's responsibility to have to struggle all their life and be traumatized all their life in order for them to come to the conclusion that they were not broken in the first place. I know that it wasn't until 2013 when they decided that ADHD and autism worked together. But all my life, I have struggled with both things, to the point that I have had so much trauma in my life due to my family treating me in ways that weren't good for who I was, the world treating me in ways that weren't good for who I was. Because believe me when I tell you, just because you struggle with something doesn't make you less. It just makes you different. And having ADHD and autism isn't a curse, it can be a gift. We see the world differently. We're capable of looking at things outside of a box that most people aren't capable of. But we never know that until we can stop being told that we're not capable of doing the thing that we're doing in the way we're doing it just because you don't understand it. And making friends is hard enough as a normal person, society's standards of normal, that when you take somebody that is different, whose brain is wired differently, and you decide to put them in a corner and make them sit there and not be able to do what's natural to them, and then everybody sits there and points and stares at you like you are a sideshow freak, that's not okay. We aren't stupid. We're not something that needs to be hidden away, and you don't need to change us. But we do need guidance and tools so that we can function in the world that isn't created for us to be able to function in. And it's not our responsibility to do that for you. When we're children, that's not our responsibility. And it is your responsibility, whether you like it or not, whether it's hard or not, whether you understand it or not. And there's organizations out there and all kinds of books and videos and classes that will help you to help them. Why would you want your children to struggle and then blame them and anybody else when you could have done something? It's not okay. It's not. It's not okay. We are different. But our differences make us valuable. It makes us unique. And most of us are the nicest, most generous, giving people you will ever meet. But most of us are taken advantage of and then cast aside or pointed at and laughed at until so many of us take our own lives because we can't handle anymore. You don't have to tell us we're broken. You prove that to us every day just by a look or tone of voice or the way that you decide to handle when we make mistakes. We know, believe me, we know. But if you take responsibility and get us the help we need from the time we are young, we are far more capable of doing things on our own and being self-sufficient and self-sustaining and being able to function in the world than if you never do. Whose responsibility is it if it's not yours? Because as children, the only responsibility we should have is growing up and learning what's right and wrong and going to school and learning there. And if we are struggling with that, then you need to help us. Anyway, that's all I have for today. For all of you who have stuck with me thus far, I'm grateful to you. For all of you that are new or that watch and don't subscribe, please subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, comment. I would enjoy talking to you. And I will catch you next time. Bye.